The Movies Video Library at 98 East Center Street has the largest and best selection of movies in Utah with over 3,000 titles. New releases to classics, a large selection of children's movies, and for that sweet tooth, Golitz candies. We also have gourmet coffee with many fine blends. The Movies, your one-stop video store at 98 East Center, 259-8847.
Welcome to our TV News Report. I'm Dee Tranter with a roundup of happenings in our community and our surrounding area. And let's give you a quick look at the weather first of all. And let's just see what we think may be coming up weather-wise. In news, a very busy week this week in both 7th Circuit Court and 7th District Court. And I'll be back in a moment with those stories and more news after this.
Williamsburg Savings Bank announces the ultimate checking package. The Winner 1 and Winner 2 accounts offer a winning combination of benefits and services. Winner 1 offers free checking with a $100 minimum balance plus $100,000 common carrier accidental death insurance. Or for $5 monthly, the Winner 2 account offers 5.25% on your balance plus free checks, traveler's checks, money orders, $10,000 additional accidental death insurance, and more. Both packages offer many more services and benefits. Come on in and find out about the ultimate checking package at Williamsburg Savings Bank, 164 East Center, member FSLIC.
Both District Court and the Circuit Court held sessions here in Moab this week, and in both cases, the judges were very busy with cases before the bench. In the regular law and arraignment calendar on Wednesday in 7th Circuit Court before Judge Bruce K. Halliday, Sandra W. Henderson appeared and was arraigned on charges of DUI and speeding, pled not guilty, and a trial was set for April the 17th. Kent E. Johnson, charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, a third-degree felony, appeared, and a preliminary hearing was scheduled for May the 5th at 10 a.m. Mr. Johnson was also charged with driving while the license is suspended or revoked. To that he pled guilty, was fined $200 and 20 days with the jail sentence suspended on payment of the fine. Chris Lorna, charged with unlawful possession with intent to distribute, 3 counts of a third-degree felony, and unlawful possession with a intent to distribute, a second-degree felony. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for April the 19th at 10 a.m. in that case. Deborah K. Milner, charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance, a third-degree felony, and possession of paraphernalia. The defendant appeared, and a preliminary hearing in that case was set for May the 5th at 11 a.m. Ramona Lee Applegate, charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance, a Class B misdemeanor, appeared and pled not guilty, and a trial was set for March the 31st at 10 a.m. Charlotte Page was charged with receiving stolen property, a Class B misdemeanor, and pled not guilty. A trial in that case will be April 21st. Charles Lee Edge, receiving stolen property, a Class B misdemeanor, appeared and pled not guilty, and a trial was set for April 21st at 11 a.m. He was also charged with DUI, open container, and possession of a controlled substance, and pled not guilty to those charges, and a trial on those charges will be April 28th at 10 a.m. There was also a preliminary hearing held for Riley Hyatt. He was charged with 2 counts of third-degree felony possession with intent to distribute, and after hearing evidence, the judge bound him over to appear in district court and set his district court arraignment for April the 10th. Earlier this week, on Monday, 7th Judicial District Court session was held, and that was held before District Court Judge Boyd Bunnell. In District Court, there were these cases. Jack Hagan was charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. It's a second-degree felony. He pled not guilty in a jury trial will be held October 24th. Thomas Lammert, charged with burglary of a dwelling, assault, criminal mischief, and driving under the influence, and threat against life or property, pled not guilty to all counts. And also on a separate criminal case, he was charged with tampering with a witness. They were consolidated for the purposes of a trial, and a jury trial was scheduled for September 28th and 29th at 9:30 a.m. Julie Day was arraigned on charges of unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute and pled not guilty. A jury trial was scheduled for November 8th and 9th at 9:30 a.m. Mike Vigil, charged with an offer to distribute a controlled substance, was before the court for arraignment and a motion for withdrawal of counsel. There were a number of those cases where counsel had been Paul Mortensen, and he withdrew, and the new public defender, Mr. Ray, was appointed to take those cases. So that was the case here. But Vigil was also arraigned on those charges, pled not guilty, and a jury trial is scheduled for September 15th at 9:30 a.m. Mary Elmore was arraigned on charges of unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. The court granted a motion for appointment of a new counsel also in that case, and the case was consolidated for purposes of a trial with that of Chuck Elmore, and a jury trial was scheduled for July the 18th at 9:30 a.m. Dale Martinez, charged with unlawful possession with intent to distribute, unlawful possession, and possession of paraphernalia and giving false personal identity to a police officer, pled not guilty to all charges. His right to a jury trial was waived, and a trial was scheduled for April the 18th at 9:30 a.m. Fred Hampton, charged with unlawful possession with intent to distribute, pled not guilty. A jury trial was scheduled for 9:30 a.m. November 27th. Ione Quinn, charged with unlawful possession with intent to distribute, pled not guilty. A jury trial was scheduled for December the 15th at 9:30. Ralph Muncy, charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, a second-degree felony, unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute, a second-degree felony, and theft, pled not guilty. A jury trial was scheduled for November the 2nd at 9:30 a.m. Terry Lee Todd, charged with production of a controlled substance with intent to, or just possession of a controlled substance, a third-degree felony. The court granted a motion for a new attorney, and also a trial date was scheduled, or changed. It had been scheduled for April the 18th, but was rescheduled for December 21st. It will be a jury trial. William Kemp Messick, charged with theft, a Class A misdemeanor, was before the court for sentencing on that charge, and he was sentenced to serve 1 year in the county jail. The judge then ordered a stay of execution, and he was placed on probation for 1 year under direction of Adult Probation and Parole Board, and fined $625. There were a number of cases of probation being terminated by the court. Laurie Wickham Lynch on an order to show cause on a probation violation, and that probation was terminated. Probation was terminated for Stephen Lee Lynch, and also for Lawrence McElhenney, who was charged with possession of a controlled substance. Lynch also was charged with possession of a controlled substance. There was a case of Angelo Anthony Mello, charged with rape of a child, a first-degree felony. There had been a warrant for his arrest on a probation violation, and the defendant said he wishes to consult with counsel. The court then entered a denial of allegations on behalf of the defendant, and a hearing was set for April the 10th at 10 a.m. Jeananne Shatley, charged with forgery, a third-degree felony, on a warrant of arrest on a probation violation, and her probation was continued for 1 year. Michael Stephen McKee pled not guilty to charges of theft and burglary of a non-dwelling, and a jury trial was scheduled for May 3rd and 4th at 9:30 a.m. Also, Jamie Tibbs was before the court on a charge of unlawful possession with intent to distribute, a third-degree felony, 3 counts. The court heard evidence on an entrapment hearing and found that entrapment did exist or had occurred, and the judge found for entrapment and dismissed all charges in that case. Well, there's one person has filed already for city council, so far for this coming fall's election, which will not take place, of course, until November the 7th. But we have one mayor candidate now, and also now have one candidate for city councilman. That is incumbent councilman David Sacrison filed this week for the position of city council on a 4-year term. Utah's hotel occupancy rate has been very high, and the Canyonlands 5-mile and half marathon coming up this weekend, and I'll be back and have more news in just a moment.
Hi, I'm John Fogg, your local independent insurance agent. We've been serving the Moab area since 1955. Central Utah Insurance Agency has a company that fits just about any need. Just look at what we can do for you.
We can insure all kinds of vehicles, from old to new, sporty to luxury. We can insure almost every kind of home.
Why not come in and see me today? I'll put your insurance coverage with a company that fits your needs at the best possible price.
Pete & Company at 411 South Main in the Desert Plaza is springing into action with your hair care this season. Come by and get a new look or just touch up. Pete & Company have scruples when it comes to your hair and your skin. The Scruples line has a professional skin treatment system that replenishes moisture balance for supple, glowing skin and protects it from the harsh desert elements. Pete & Company are offering free Scruples hairspray with every perm. So come by the Desert Plaza and see Pete & Company soon, 411 South Main.
Utah's hotel-motel occupancy rate appears to be very good. In fact, they're leading the Intermountain states, according to a report this week. The report said that although Utah's hotel-motel occupancy rate exceeded those of our 4 neighboring states in 1988, it was impossible to really say whether the Utah Beehive State lodging industry was the most profitable. In giving the assessment, Bob Benton, manager in real estate advisory services for a Denver-based company, explained a key factor determining profitability was in the age of the hotel and motels. He said older hotels built with cheaper dollars do not require a lot of room revenue to cover debt service and are therefore generally more profitable. Utah's average occupancy rate in 1988 was 66.3%. That was a bit above the level considered profitable. But Mr. Benson said that this is hardly revealing, since Utah's percentage is an average, meaning some hotels and motels had higher occupancy rate and others lower rates. He did say, though, we do feel that the hotel-motel market in the West has bottomed out. Several years ago, he said there was some overbuilding, but now he said that has stabilized and hotels should begin to improve their operating results. He said the decline from which the industry is now emerging began in the mid-1980s and paralleled the downturn in the energy industries. Mr. Benton said Utah's 66.3% 1988 occupancy rate compares with 64.3% for the previous year, And it is ahead of all of these states: New Mexico, Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. However, New Mexico had the highest average nightly room rate. In other words, they charge more, an average of $52.50 per night in New Mexico. Other states' room averages included Colorado at $52.14, Utah at $50.70, Wyoming only $36.60, and Montana at $37.24. Utah's average nightly room rate was $49.85. Well, here in Moab this weekend, the 5-mile run and half marathon is coming up, and we want to remind you again that Highway 128 will be closed during the time of this run. It's the 14th annual Canyonlands half marathon and 5-mile run is scheduled for this Saturday. Highway 128 will be closed between 9 a.m. and noon on the time of or during the time of those 5-mile and half marathon races. So remember, Highway 128 closed from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday. Some other events around our community: Women's Literary Club will celebrate their 91st birthday this weekend at a meeting Saturday, March the 18th at Mavita at 1:30 p.m. Friday, there'll be an immunization clinic from 1 p.m. to 3 o'clock at the Community Health Office. That's at 471 South Main in the Desert Plaza. And some sports events going on this weekend include Lions Club basketball tournament Friday and Saturday at the high school and middle school gym, and the Arches Invitational track meet will be held at Grand County High School on Friday. Saturday, there's high school baseball. Cortez coming to Moab for a doubleheader. So your chance to enjoy some good spring baseball at the high school diamond. That's Cortez at Moab Saturday for varsity baseball. Also, the drill team competition for high schools will be going on this weekend. That'll be on Saturday. The 2A competition will be at Spanish Fork High School at Spanish Fork, Utah. Well, that's news for today, and news of our Moab and Canyonlands area. We hope you enjoy a good day. Moab Building Center at 2471 South Highway 191 reminds you now's the time to fix up, paint up, and clean up. Moab Building Center is your true value hardware store, and they have all of the tools you'll need for big jobs or just for minor repair. They also carry a full line of plumbing and electrical supplies. They have all of your spring, lawn, and garden needs. And for spring painting jobs, they have Easy Care and all-weather brands. There's a good supply of vacuums in stock, and when it comes to time to build, they have all of the material: plywood, quality kiln-dried lumber, blocks, and concrete. That's Moab Building Center and True Value Hardware Store at 2471 South Highway 191. Call 259-8935. didn't say anything about him, but something just...
Moab Building Center at 2471 South Highway 191 reminds you now's the time to fix up, paint up, and clean up. Moab Building Center is your true value hardware store, and they have all of the tools you'll need for big jobs or just for minor repair. They also carry a full line of plumbing and electrical supplies. They have all of your spring, lawn, and garden needs. And for spring painting jobs, they have Easy Care and all-weather brands. There's a good supply of vacuums in stock, and when it comes to time to build, they have all of the material: plywood, quality kiln-dried lumber, blocks, and concrete. That's Moab Building Center and True Value Hardware Store at 2471 South Highway 191. Call 259-8935.
Welcome to our TV News Report. I'm Dee Tranter with a roundup of news of our Moab and Canyonlands area. Well, while you take a look at what we think may be coming up weather-wise, let's mention that there has been another round of town meetings here in Moab, and there's still one more round of meetings to come up next week. We'll talk about that and have more news in just a moment.
Williamsburg Savings Bank announces the ultimate checking package. The Winner 1 and Winner 2 accounts offer a winning combination of benefits and services. Winner 1 offers free checking with a $100 minimum balance plus $100,000 common carrier accidental death insurance. Or for $5 monthly, the Winner 2 account offers 5.25% on your balance plus free checks, traveler's checks, money orders, $10,000 additional accidental death insurance, and more. Both packages offer many more services and benefits. Come on in and find out about the ultimate checking package at Williamsburg Savings Bank, 164 East Center, member FSLIC.
There was a mixed turnout at the Thursday night town meetings. The neighborhood meetings this is the second round of meetings to be held in our community. And it seems to show that residents in some neighborhoods want to influence their future, while others prefer to just wait and see. Discussion in the more concerned neighborhoods was lively. It focused mainly on two issues. First, how to make the community as attractive as possible to visitors who might want to live here, and second, how to provide incentives for economic development. On the first issue, participants showed a general feeling of near reverence for our environment, according to several reports. The feeling led to much discussion about how the community looks to visitors. Several examples of old cars, trailers, mobile homes, junk, lack of upkeep of homes and businesses were given. But, said many, it's hard to tell other people they have to do something. Suggestions emphasized strict zoning enforcement, but also included higher taxes for non-compliance and programs to involve youngsters in a cleanup program. A great deal of time was devoted to the problem of wood smoke. Most participants want something done about it, but they want positive incentives rather than forced restrictions. Additional comments were made by the participants at a meeting in Spanish Valley.
I've been in Moab for about 12 years now. The summer that I moved in here, there were two houses for sale in the whole town. One was a $50,000 fixer-upper that needed $30,000 worth of work, and the other one was about $70,000 or $80,000, and there was nothing to rent. I mean, things were booming. That's what it was like when we moved here. Well, 12 short years later, there's hundreds of houses for sale in our town. I'm watching family after family, which I feel that families are the heart of the community, leaving. And they're going out. And then what I see on top of that that really disturbs me is that when it comes down to a meeting like this, or a lot of the meetings that this town has had in the last couple of years, it ends up this group on this side and this group on this side, all hollering at the people at the other end. And I fail to see at this point, and maybe coming out of these meetings this will happen, both sides being able to sit down at the table and say it's not what's best for you and your specific group and what's best for you and your specific group, but what is best for Moab.
Danger of being exploited by outside moneyed interests, because it is so very hard for people to live here and have concerns here, get money to get things going. I talk to people all the time and have great ideas, but a lot of them take capital, you know, 20,000, 40,000. They could probably have going commercial greenhouses, providing produce in the winter, or there could be ways of tapping into the film industry money a lot better. There could be a lot of good ideas that people could do, and all of them need capital.
And one of the issues on our outline here is the quality of life, a desirable community. Along with those things, besides things like sewage, zoning, planning, water use, goes the problems with our waste disposal, just our household waste. Most of the innovative cities now, cities that are looking to the future, cities that are dealing with the problems, are encouraging, supporting, developing recycling on a large scale, although it does start small. And that's something we're really lacking here. I mean, it may not be a very feasible thing to do on our own, but certainly to make a connection with a recycling plan. Private business can set up recycling just as well as the government can, but most cities have subsidized, the ones that are doing it now, they're either subsidizing or working with private business to get recycling educated, to have it happening. The sanitation people help out by allowing their customers to separate their trash and run different things at different days. Things like that is part of the private and the government working together to make the community more desirable.
And it was a case where it was a neighborhood problem, that there was some just deferred maintenance and deferred cleanup of a house that was really bad. And they took these people to court. I talked to the judge because I was curious. Okay, we have a community that we're having trouble with the zoning situation. He says, and it comes back to this very same thing. For so many years, it's been unenforced. Therefore, if you come to court today, it's non-enforceable. So what has to be done is the zoning commission and planning commission must go through and change the wording and redo all of the zoning laws. And then,
I was released
and once those zoning, and they only need minor changes.
one Monday
But
night.
once they're done, they need to be started to be enforced, and once they're done, then they're enforceable because they're new.
Yeah, but whatever. That just makes whatever laws are on the books a joke then.
That's exactly right. That's the bottom line, Wayne. That's the facts. And that judge reiterated that very point, and we sat right in
But
a
I think
meeting.
in that city meeting, you know, they talked about, quality of life is one of our major attractions to Moab. We're willing to protect it. Here was some of the things that came up in the city meeting. Can we stabilize our hospitals and schools? Will we protect the air in our lifestyles? Are we going to just let eyesores be part of our community? It's an eyesore telling people that here's a community with a little self-respect. Would a real cleanup job improve our self-esteem? Wouldn't it help us to attract growth if we cleaned up some of the things around here that need to be cleaned up? Right?
I, for one, if I could just put a shot of optimism, I'm excited about the new Sprouse store. It lends itself to an excellent community. It's got the hope of the future wrapped up in its walls. It's huge, it's big, it's light, it's a beautiful facility. And it's exciting to see now they're tearing down the old gas station, getting ready to remove the underground storage tanks at City Market. The new City Market store is going to become a reality. That's telling me something as a realtor and as an appraiser. Things are looking up in Moab.
On the second major issue, there was no doubt about one thing, that participants favor tourism and recreation, but they want a diverse economy more than anything else. Most participants hope for a large number of small employers rather than a few large ones, and most spoke in favor of light, clean industry. Only a few argued that larger industry was necessary, and nearly all of them agreed that strict controls and regulations would be needed. However, the preference was clearly to run our business in a safe and environmentally sound way to avoid red tape and penalties later. Regarding incentives for development, it was clear the community has little to give in terms of subsidies or tax relief. Nearly all heads nodded in agreement when speakers declared that beauty and lifestyle are our main assets. A community-operated revolving loan fund could be attractive, but most seem to agree that loan money has to be hard to come by. It was said often that people who want to get into business should have to think and plan and be able to show that the business they want is going to be successful. Perhaps successful business people could run the program and involve themselves personally in helping new business. Perhaps retired business people would be willing to work part-time to help. An interesting promotional theme was suggested: launch an ad campaign called "Bring It With You. We have the lifestyle and the place you want to live, so bring your own job and we'll help you get established." And there are more meetings that will be coming up next week, and we'll tell you more about that on our later news programs. Bighorn sheep may be getting a boost here in southeast Utah, as will eagles. And I'll be back with those stories and have more news after this.
Hi, I'm John Fogg, your local independent insurance agent. We've been serving the Moab area since 1955. Central Utah Insurance Agency has a company that fits just about any need. Just look at what we can do for you.
We can insure all kinds of vehicles, from old to new, sporty to luxury. We can insure almost every kind of home.
Why not come in and see me today? I'll put your insurance coverage with a company that fits your needs at the best possible price.
Well, bighorn sheep, as well as riparian habitat, will benefit from a proposed change in management in the Elliott Mountain area that's near the Green River here in southeast Utah. According to Gene Nodine, district manager of the Moab Bureau of Land Management District Office, livestock grazing privileges were recently relinquished in that area, and a planning amendment is being prepared for future management direction. Joel and Steve Stamatakis of Price, Utah, and Don Wilcox of Green River, Utah, have relinquished the privileges on 4 grazing allotments that they held, totaling 105,000 acres of public land. The relinquishment was a result of negotiations between the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources and several private interest groups and the grazing permittees. The land is bordered by the Book Cliffs on the west and south, Turtle Canyon and Range Creek on the north, and the Green River on the east. The area falls within 2 wilderness study areas, Desolation Canyon and Turtle Canyon. Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, BLM, and Conservation and Sportsman's Group recognize the area as an important habitat for bighorn sheep because there's a large undisturbed area that was historic range for bighorn. There are also important riparian values in the area. The river supports 3 endangered fish species and provides habitat for wintering bald eagles. Desolation and Gray Canyons are extremely popular for river runners. Bighorn sheep were numerous throughout much of the southeast Utah prior to the settlement of this area. Desolation and Gray Canyons were recognized as an area of overlap for desert and Rocky Mountain bighorn. In the early 1970s, 22 Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep were released at the mouth of Florence Creek on the Uinta-Ouray Indian Reservation. Some of these sheep eventually crossed the Green River and took up residence in the Elliott Mountain area. However, the Elliott Mountain bighorn population is small and may not be viable. Bighorn transplants were not considered feasible while domestic sheep grazed in the area because domestic animals can transmit diseases to the bighorn. With the relinquishment of grazing privileges, BLM proposes to manage the area to improve riparian values and bighorn sheep habitat. The opportunity to see bighorn sheep in the environment of riparian vegetation will make the river more attractive for recreationists. By the way, if you'd like more information and a copy of the planning amendment, you can request that from the Price Area Office of BLM. That's at 900 North, 700 East in Price, Utah. And there's a move afoot to protect the eagles out along Interstate Highway 70 here in Grand County, where a number of eagles have been killed by traveling motorists on Interstate Highway 70. And if you've traveled that road recently, you may have noticed some new signs that have been installed by the Utah Department of Transportation, working in cooperation with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. The signs have been installed to warn motorists about eagles feeding on the highway. Over the past year, 23 to 25 golden eagles are known to have been killed on this desolate section of Interstate Highway after being hit by vehicles. We have killed a lot of birds, according to Larry Dalton with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. Along I-70, we may have the West's densest population of nesting eagles. Because of the population, the number that are being killed by cars is very surprising. The birds, which are protected by law, feed on the carcasses of other animals that have been hit by cars and trucks. The eagles are then struck either because they are unwilling to yield possession of a roadkill or because of their size they are slow in taking off and getting out of the road of traffic. In an effort to warn motorists of the possible hazard and protect both motorists and eagles, Utah Division of Wildlife Resources approached the Utah Department of Transportation about developing and installing highway warning signs. The signs developed by UDOT are 4 feet by 4 feet signs, yellow with black lettering that says Eagles on Highway. According to Dave Miles, engineer for traffic and safety, he said, "We first attempted to draw an eagle similar to a deer crossing sign, but he said we couldn't come up with a silhouette that really looked like an eagle. Some people said it looked like an eagle, some like a vulture, and some thought it looked like a bird. So our second choice," he said, "was to use lettering." The signs were installed on I-70 on Friday, March the 10th. UDOT knows of unusual animal warning signs being placed on highways in other parts of the country, but said, as far as it can tell, these are the first eagle warning signs ever developed. According to Dalton, efforts to protect the eagles doesn't stop with the new signs. Utah Power and Light and U.S. West have both agreed to modify utility poles in the area, which have been determined to be hazardous to eagle populations. Well, just one other item in the news today is a reminder of an upcoming meeting that may be of interest to area residents. There will be an AIDS curriculum meeting that will be held at the high school library on Tuesday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Anyone interested is invited to attend, and especially high school parents. Again, that meeting will be March 21st at 7 p.m. at the high school library. That's news of Moab and our Canyonlands area. Hope you enjoy a pleasant day.
The Movies Video Library at 98 East Center Street has the largest and best selection of movies in Utah with over 3,000 titles. New releases to classics, a large selection of children's movies, and for that sweet tooth, Golitz candies. We also have gourmet coffee with many fine blends. The Movies, your one-stop video store at 98 East Center, 259-8847.
Spend all day working on that boat. I went out there this morning and I said, oh!
After I talked to you? Yeah. You said
Hi, I'm John Fogg, your local independent insurance agent. We've been serving the Moab area since 1955. Central Utah Insurance Agency has a company that fits just about any need. Just look at what we can do for you.
We can insure all kinds of vehicles from old to new, sporty to luxury. We can insure almost every kind of home.
Why not come in and see me today? I will put your insurance coverage with a company that fits your needs at the best possible price.
Welcome to our TV News Report. I'm Dee Tranter, and this is news of Moab and our Canyonlands area. And let's give you a quick look at what we think may be coming up weather-wise. Over the weekend, there was a little storm went through northern Utah. We just slid by us with very little of anything in our area. By the way, spring has officially arrived now, and certainly the spring influx of visitors has already begun. And in fact, this past weekend was a big weekend in Moab, and I'll be back and have that story and more news in just a moment.
Williamsburg Savings Bank announces the ultimate checking package. The Winner One and Winner Two accounts offer a winning combination of benefits and services. Winner One offers free checking with a $100 minimum balance plus $100,000 common carrier accidental death insurance. Or for $5 monthly, the Winner Two account offers 5.25% on your balance plus free checks, traveler's checks, money orders, $10,000 additional accidental death insurance, and more. Both packages offer many more services and benefits. Come on in and find out about the ultimate checking package at Williamsburg Savings Bank, 164 East Center, member FSLIC.
Good news today, the spring tourist season has officially arrived in Moab. Last Friday saw the influx of about 1,000 marathon runners and their families. If you tried to eat at a restaurant on Friday night, you found it almost impossible, as the runners and other visitors to our area packed into all of the local restaurants. Many establishments reported running out of food by 9 p.m. All motel rooms were filled by late Thursday. A police and sheriff's office reported only minor incidents only over the weekend. So all in all, it was a successful and good start for spring in Moab. The biggest reason for the successful weekend was that 5-mile and half marathon race, although there are a number of Jeepers already in town for the big Jeep Safari that's coming up this weekend. The half marathon and 5-mile race was put on by the Rim Rock Road Runners. There were over 960 registered entries this year, and believe me, that is a long way from the 21 entries on the first race that was held back in 1976. This year's 5-mile race was won by Alan Russell of Grand Junction, Colorado, with a time of 25 minutes, 48 seconds. The women's division was won by Lori Moreno of Durango, Colorado, with a time of 29 minutes, 41 seconds. The half marathon saw the winner miss the record by 1 second. Palacios Alvaro finished with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, 53 seconds to miss the record of 1 hour, 53 minutes, 52 seconds set in 1987 by Alan Russell. The women's division was won by Mary Wood of Montrose, Colorado, with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, 55 seconds. The wheelchair division was won by John Brewer of Ogden, Utah, with a record-setting time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 13 seconds. Race director Joe Cresto stated that it was a successful event this year due to the efforts of only a handful of people. Primary force behind the scenes this year were Mary Cunningham, Bob Milton, Robin Groff, Howard Scott, Pat Spar, and Marion Ottinger. All of the people of Rimrock Roadrunners should be congratulated for their efforts in organizing this annual event with benefits, or which benefits, of course, the entire community. This weekend, it'll be another busy weekend in Moab as visitors will be coming here for the annual Easter event. And the Easter Jeep Safari is already underway with trips that are going on now. In fact, started this weekend, and there will be safari trips out each day this week. Moab Chamber of Commerce said they would like to salute a retired senior volunteer program for its recognition of the Chamber's support in furthering the efforts of the volunteer program. Chamber of Commerce is proud to have Melba Stewart, an RSVP volunteer, on their staff. Melba is an invaluable asset to the operation of the Chamber of Commerce. Volunteering 2 mornings each week, Melba dispenses a variety of travel and tourist information and related information over the phone, through the mail, and by greeting visitors directly at the Chamber of Commerce office. With the tourist season at hand, there is an ever-increasing need for volunteers to help greet and assist visitors to our area. Chamber office provides a unique setting for assisting a varied cross-section of traveler inquiries. If you enjoy meeting people, enjoy the wonderful attributes of our Moab community, its beautiful surroundings, and would enjoy informing the public of these qualities, you might consider volunteering your extra time to the Chamber of Commerce. You could contact the local RSVP coordinator or volunteer directly at the Chamber of Commerce office. They're located in downtown Moab at 64 South Main. Call 259-7531. Well, a coalition of environmental groups has sought protection of one of the rarest species of fish in Utah. The action for that request came last week. Environmentalists petitioned the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to place the razorback sucker on the federal list of endangered species. This would prohibit federal agencies from participating in any projects that might jeopardize the species. It could also result in additional funds to study the fish. The petition to place the fish on the endangered species list was filed by the Sierra Club, the Wilderness Society, National Audubon Society, and several other groups. Bob Rusnek, State Supervisor for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, said agency officials will evaluate the environmentalist petition to determine whether the razorback requires the protective status. He conceded, however, that the fish is in bad shape. The fish is native to the Colorado River and its major tributaries, such as the Green. It was once abundant in the Colorado system, but the construction of dams in the Colorado River system and the introduction of non-native aggressive species has severely disrupted the river's ecosystem. This has pushed the razorback and also 3 other species of native Colorado River fish to the brink of extinction. The other 3 native species include the Colorado squawfish, the humpback chub, and the bony-tailed chub. All of those are already on the endangered species list. Project leader of the request, Harold Titus, says, "I consider it one of the rarest fish and one we know very little about." He's speaking now about the latest request for the razorback sucker. He said, "We have been unable to document any recruitment. It makes this one of the most endangered fish in the upper Colorado River basin." He estimated there are only about 1,000 razorbacks that live in the Colorado River above Glen Canyon Dam. Most are concentrated in a section of the Green near Vernal, Utah. He said, "We've got a lot of big fish, but no reproduction recorded. They're producing eggs and larvae, but we don't get any young fish. The razorback is obviously biologically endangered." The problem is that the fish apparently spawns in flooded river bottoms, and with the construction of the dams, especially Flaming Gorge, it has prevented the flooding into many river bottoms that were spawning areas. He also said that it is known that the razorbacks spawn at the peak of the flood cycle, and the construction of dams is having an effect. Almost a decade of attempts to place the razorback on the endangered species list have been unsuccessful because of a legally dubious memorandum of understanding signed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Back in 1981, the document outlined a 10-year program to reintroduce the razorback into the Colorado. Well, I'll be back in just a moment and have more news after this.
Pete & Company at 411 South Main in the Desert Plaza is springing into action with your hair care this season. Come by and get a new look or just touch up. Pete & Company have scruples when it comes to your hair and your skin. The Scruples line has a professional skin treatment system that replenishes moisture balance for supple, glowing skin and protects it from the harsh desert elements. Pete & Company are offering free Scruples hairspray with every perm. So come by the Desert Plaza and see Pete & Company soon, 411 South Main.
Well, there are a few events going on in our community that you should know about. There will be a food handlers class. Thursday, March the 23rd, the class is being held at the City Council chambers of the courthouse. Classes are 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. There will be a slide presentation and a talk by Jim Adamson, the district sanitarian, followed by the test. All permits are $5. There will be an AIDS curriculum meeting at the high school library Thursday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Everyone is invited, and all high school parents are urged to attend, and anyone else. That's an AIDS curriculum meeting at the high school library Thursday the 21st at 7 p.m. Red Rock Elementary School is having a fundraising yard sale that'll be coming up on April the 1st at 9 o'clock at the school. And if you have an item you might be able to donate, you could call Susie Gregory at 259-5924. And in high school sports this week, there's a baseball game on the 22nd. That will be Richfield at Moab. Also on the 22nd, the Sterling Scholar Awards Night is being held, and a choir concert was being held at the high school gym. On the 23rd, there will be the end of the third quarter, also a choir concert at the high school gym, and on the 24th, a teacher prep day. Tennis will have Monticello at Moab, and the spring break begins on the 24th. And that's news of Moab and our Canyonlands area. We hope you enjoy a pleasant day. Moab Building Center at 2471 South Highway 191 reminds you now's the time to fix up, paint up, and clean up. Moab Building Center is your true value hardware store, and they have all of the tools you'll need for big jobs or just for minor repair. They also carry a full line of plumbing and electrical supplies. They have all of your spring, lawn, and garden needs. And for spring painting jobs, they have Easy Care and all-weather brands. There's a good supply of vacuums in stock, and when it comes to time to build, they have all of the material: plywood, quality kiln-dried lumber, blocks, and concrete. That's Moab Building Center and True Value Hardware Store at 2471 South Highway 191. Call 259-8935. Welcome to our TV6 News Report. I'm Dee Tranter with a roundup of news of our Moab and Canyonlands area. And may we remind you again that we appreciate those people you see as sponsors on our program, and hope you take advantage of the offers they have for you. They're good local sponsors that have great value for you. Look at the weather quickly, and spring has arrived, and some nice spring weather for you, at least for a while. Looks like at least to the weekend. There's a little bit of a question mark toward the weekend. We'll keep you posted as we move along a little further. And of course, it is going to be a busy and big weekend coming up in Moab again. I'll be back in just a moment with a roundup of local news.
Williamsburg Savings Bank announces the ultimate checking package. The Winner 1 and Winner 2 accounts offer a winning combination of benefits and services. Winner 1 offers free checking with a $100 minimum balance plus $100,000 common carrier accidental death insurance. Or for $5 monthly, the Winner 2 account offers 5.25% on your balance plus free checks, traveler's checks, money orders, $10,000 additional accidental death insurance, and more. Both packages offer many more services and benefits. Come on in and find out about the ultimate checking package at Williamsburg Savings Bank, 164 East Center, member FSLIC.
In news today, two men, both aliens, have been arrested and charged with defacing a sandstone arch here in southeast Utah. And they'll be arraigned, or have been arraigned probably by this time, before the U.S. magistrate Calvin Gould in Salt Lake City. Martin Cortines Martinez, 25 years old, and Ernesto Molina Posada, 25 years old, both legal migrant workers from Mexico, were charged with destruction of U.S. government property and face a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and or a fine of $250,000. The two men were arrested last Friday night after a citizen called the San Juan County Sheriff's Office to report the two men were using gray primer paint to scrawl their family names, hometowns, and other graffiti on the buttress of Wilson Arch. Wilson Arch is located about halfway between Moab and Monticello, right along Highway 191, and is a well-known landmark. It's, of course, an arch you can't hardly miss as you go through that area. Very popular arch. You always see a lot of people stopped in visiting Wilson Arch. The letters were probably as large as a foot to a foot and a half high, according to Bill Pierce, deputy investigator for the sheriff's office out of San Juan County. Bill said the paint appeared blue on the red sandstone. A passerby noticed the vandalism taking place and obtained a description of the men and their vehicle, and then promptly notified law enforcement authorities. An Emery County Sheriff's deputy later arrested the two men at Green River, and they were held, taken first to San Juan County, where they were held in jail there at Monticello, and then moved to Salt Lake City to face the federal charges before the U.S. magistrate. Pierce said if it hadn't been for the citizens who reported the incident, we wouldn't have had a chance of catching them. Their involvement, speaking of the citizens, was wonderful, according to Mr. Pierce. He said the Bureau of Land Management that administers the land on which the arch is located will bring in sandblasting equipment to remove the paint, but it will discolor the rock, and that will be visible. The sandblasted area will be visible for several years. Ed Sherrick, manager of BLM San Juan Resource Area, said this is the first time he can remember anyone being arrested for defacing of rocks in southeast Utah. The Utah Labor Market Report indicates that in the past 12 months, Utah's non-agriculture employers have created 25,000 new jobs here in the Beehive State. Services leads Utah's job creation with over 10,000 since February of 1988. The trade industries added 6,400, manufacturing 5,600. Utah's unemployment rate was 4.0, a 10-year low. And the unemployment rate fell from a year ago by just about 1 full percentage point. That was not the case here in Grand County, however, as our unemployment has taken a little jump from not only this past month, but compared to a year ago figures. The projected figure for February for unemployment for Grand County was 15.1%. That compared to 14.4% in January and 14.7% a year ago. One of the reasons for that is that we have more people in the civilian labor force than we had a year ago. The civilian labor force has grown from 2,450 in February of last year to 2,590. That's a 5.7% increase. The number of agriculture, non-agriculture that is, and salaried jobs has also grown, but not at the same pace as the number of people in the civilian labor force. The non-agriculture wage and salary jobs a year ago was at 1,760, and or rather 1,720, and has grown to 1,760 in the past year. That's a 2.3% increase there. Highest unemployment in Utah, by the way, is over at Garfield County, where they're showing 19.2% unemployment. Kane County is at 13.4% unemployment, and Grand County is the number 2 county in the state of Utah for high unemployment, a rather dubious honor. The last of a series of neighborhood meetings will be held Wednesday night. Craig Bigler talked with Don Cook about the meetings.
Hi, I'm Craig Bigler here once again to talk to you about the neighborhood meetings that we're having as a follow-on to the town meeting we had in January. As you know, we've scheduled these meetings so that we can get a chance to listen to the voice of the people as much as possible, to sort of as a check to see if the opinions and views that were made at the town meeting really represent all of the people who live in our community. We've had several of the meetings already. We've had some really tremendous meetings where quite a few people turned out. We've had some meetings that were kind of spotty, where not an awful lot of folks showed up. At the meetings, there has been a vigorous discussion. We've learned an awful lot. We feel that there's still a fair amount left to learn. The final meetings in Moab will be held this Wednesday, March 22nd, again at 7 p.m. And we really want for you, the public, to turn out. These meetings, we feel, are very important. We have with us today in the studio Don Cook. Don has agreed to help moderate one of the meetings. In fact, he's having it in his house. Don, would you explain to us why you feel that this is important enough that you're willing to take time out from your busy schedule to participate in this activity?
Each individual, Craig, has a responsibility to help shape their own future. To me, that's one of the constitutional rights is given to us, and with every right comes a responsibility to do something about where we're headed. We can all sit back and let someone else take the directive, but if we do that, we also need to be content with what they do and the direction that things are going. In this particular case, if we're not content with the direction that our community is going, if we do nothing about it, we really have no complaint. We need to put forth some effort to say to the community what we would like to see happen, where we'd like to see things go, and that's why I'm involved at this point, is to say that I want to have the right to exercise my responsibility to help shape the future of Moab, and so I want to be involved to say this is what I would like to have done with the community, where I'd like to see it go. And I think each member of the community has that same responsibility to respond to a meeting of this nature.
Thanks, Don. That was an excellent statement. You know, it is a responsibility, isn't it? I'd kind of like to think that in the districts where not many people have shown up, that's an indication that people are satisfied with the way the community is going, but I kind of doubt that that's the reason.
I would agree with that, because I think there's a lot of people that feel that they can't do anything about it, and too often the silent minority runs things, and I think that people need to come forth, and now that there's an easy way of expressing themselves. Sometimes large meetings are hard to feel the freedom with each individual's inhibitions and whatnot to express themselves, but I think this type of meeting provides for that opportunity, and it is a free forum for each individual to speak his mind.
Thanks, Don. You hit upon the theme of this entire project. The sponsors of the program, Moab City, Castle Valley, Grand County, the League of Women Voters, and the Chamber of Commerce have all dedicated this effort to the individual, to extending the voice of the individual into the entire community, so that no one's concerns or aspirations are ignored. We're guaranteeing that whatever any person says will in fact be listened to, will be given equal weight to what any other person says, and will be in one way or another incorporated into the draft report that will circulate widely throughout the community during the summer. Now we'd like to go to the map to explain where the meetings are to be held and at what time. Again, this is Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., March 22nd. Let's go to the map. Okay, the meetings this week are in voting districts 5 and voting district 10. Voting district 5 has a fairly large population, so we'll have 2 meetings there. For those of you who aren't too sure of the boundaries, this is 4th East here, Mill Creek Parkway, and the Cliffs. This is the Walker subdivision up in here. One of the meetings will be at the Don Cook home at 294 Hillside Drive. The other meeting will be in the school district office at the headquarters here on 4th East between 2nd South and 3rd South. Not at all hard to find. Please go to whichever meeting suits your fancy. In voting district 10, is a fairly large district, but it doesn't have a large population, so we're only having 1 meeting there Wednesday evening. That meeting will be at the home of Bill and Dory McDougald at 422 Topaz Circle. The boundary, as you can see, is 4th North, 1st West, Cane Creek Parkway, or Boulevard, and 5th West. 422 Topaz. Topaz Circle is right off of Opal Avenue, which connects 4th North to Park Drive. Again, it is not hard to find. Now, for those of you who did not get to any of the other meetings in your own neighborhood, please feel free to drop in on whichever of these meetings you are inclined. We do want to hear from everyone. This is open to the entire public. You don't have to live in one of these neighborhoods to attend one of these meetings. We're hoping for a good turnout on Wednesday evening. See you there. In closing, I just would like to remind the viewing audience, all of you folks in Grand County, that here is an opportunity for all of us to participate in determining what our future is going to be. Moab is at the threshold. Grand County, the whole community is changing. We're not sure where we're going to go, We have a pretty good idea of where we've been. We don't know what's going to happen, but we all have an opportunity to influence the nature of the future and see what we can do to help make it turn out the way that we all like it, we all want it. We want this a community to be a kind of a place that we want to live in. We want it to be our community. Here is our opportunity to help make that happen.
Hi, I'm John Fogg, your local independent insurance agent. We've been serving the Moab area since 1955. Central Utah Insurance Agency has a company that fits just about any need. Just look at what we can do for you.
We can insure all kinds of vehicles, from old to new, sporty to luxury. We can insure almost every kind of home.
Why not come in and see me today? I will put your insurance coverage with a company that fits your needs at the best possible price.
Moab City Council meeting Tuesday night at 8 o'clock in the council chambers of the courthouse. Items on the agenda included the Hollywood Stuntman Hall of Fame contract. They'll be taking action on the zone change recommendation by Moab City and a recommendation that pertains to the Powerhouse Lane area. Company of Metcalf and Eddy, that's a company that's been doing the cleanup work at that gas plume located on 2nd South Street, West 2nd South in Moab, is requesting permission to discharge the effluent from their interim groundwater treatment system into the Moab wastewater treatment plant. And so that will be discussed. There's a discussion on qualifications, job descriptions, salary, benefits for an ad for a city planner position, and a request to advertise for a developer for property in and around the golf course. And those are only a few of the items were on the agenda for the Tuesday night City Council meeting. There will be a food handlers class in Moab Thursday, March 23rd. The class is being held in the City Council chambers of the courthouse. Classes are at 9 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. There will be a slide presentation and talk by Mr. Jim Adamson, our district sanitarian, followed by the test. All permits are $5. Hunter safety class is coming up. You can register at Briggs Sporting Goods. The cost is $4. The class starts April the 3rd at 6 p.m. and will be held at the Grand County Courthouse in the courtroom. If you'd like more information on the Hunter safety course, contact Darrell Benson at 259-7665 or Max Irish at 259-6790. And that's news of our Moab and Canyonlands area. We hope you enjoy a pleasant day.
Moab Building Center at 2471 South Highway 191 reminds you now's the time to fix up, paint up, and clean up. Moab Building Center is your true value hardware store, and they have all of the tools you'll need for big jobs or just for minor repair. They also carry a full line of plumbing and electrical supplies. They have all of your spring, lawn, and garden needs. And for spring painting jobs, they have Easy Care and all-weather brands. There's a good supply of vacuums in stock, and when it comes to time to build, they have all of the material, plywood, quality kiln-dried lumber, blocks, and concrete. That's Moab Building Center and True Value Hardware Store at 2471 South Highway 191. Call 259-8935.
Welcome to our TV News Report. I'm Dee Tranter with a roundup of news of interest to this area, Moab and the Canyonlands country. And while we let you take a look at the weather forecast, by the way, we do have a busy weekend coming up and still a little bit of a question mark. Weather Service says we might have some windy weather on Saturday, but other than that, should be a fairly nice weekend for us. And the last I heard was still a chance of a little moisture on Sunday, but doesn't look like too much. We should have a nice weekend for the busy weekend coming up. In news, the city of Moab is going to hire a city planner, and I'll have that story and more news coming up.
Williamsburg Savings Bank announces the ultimate checking package. The Winner 1 and Winner 2 accounts offer a winning combination of benefits and services. Winner 1 offers free checking with a $100 minimum balance plus $100,000 common carrier accidental death insurance. Or for $5 monthly, the Winner 2 account offers 5.25% on your balance plus free checks, traveler's checks, money orders, $10,000 additional accidental death insurance, and more. Both packages offer many more services and benefits. Come on in and find out about the ultimate checking package at Williamsburg Savings Bank, 164 East Center, member FSLIC.
City Council, in their meeting earlier this week, decided to push ahead on the hiring of a city planner, and they hope to have him in place by July of this summer. That was just one decision made during the Tuesday night council meeting. The council will also hold a workshop with Utah State University, the City Planning Commission, and the council to form a job description for that new city planner. And then they hope to advertise and hope to hire someone by July of 1989. That's this summer. In other action, the council heard comments on a zone change in the Powerhouse Lane area, Powerhouse Lane Trailer Court. The request was to change the zoning from R2 to Mobile Home and RV 1. There was some negative comments from surrounding property owners to the proposed development. The council took all comments under advisement and will take action at the next regular meeting. The possibility of tax increment financing was also discussed for the new city market. It was determined that to meet the criteria, the area to be used needs to be classified as blighted. So the study is still underway. No final action was taken. You may have noticed that the City Market Company has already begun clearing some of the land in that area for the new City Market building, and according to Mayor Tom Stocks, they expect to see beginning of the construction by about July the 1st. The company of Metcalf and Eddy met with the City Council to request that effluent from the cleanup project on West 2nd South in that gas plume area be allowed to be discharged into the city's waste treatment plant. After a discussion, the City Council turned thumbs down and denied that request. The go-ahead was given to Canyonlands Arts Council to present a symphony at the Old City Park, scheduled for May the 20th. Verna Shumway presented her program of robot safety training and received the endorsement of the council. And finally, the council agreed to advertise for a developer for the golf course. The ad is being drawn up and will be released within the next few weeks. The next City Council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April the 4th. A popular pictorial essay of the Moab area that was originally produced by the MAP Committee several years ago, or Moab Area Promotional Committee, is now available from Grand County Travel Council at a special promotional rate. The special rate of 50 cents each is available to local business who would like to use the book for promotional purposes, not for resale. Quantities are limited and will be sold on a first-come, first-served basis with a minimum order of 10 books. To place your order, contact Val Townsend, Grand County Travel Council, at 259-8825. For businesses wishing to carry the book for resale, you could contact the Canyon Country Publications at 259-6700. They will continue to be wholesale distributor of the complete Moab, Utah book. That book includes an updated 8-page insert. It retails for $2.75. State and local spending for all educational purposes in Utah last year, the last fiscal year that is, 1987-88 fiscal year, totaled $1,603 million. That was one of the observations contained in a research study completed by the Utah Foundation and released this week. The Foundation is a private non-profit research organization. According to the Foundation report, $1,188 million was spent by local school districts. $103 million, $721,000 was used to operate the state school board office, state-operated schools such as vocational schools and skill centers and the deaf and blind schools, along with other state education programs. $338,500,000 went to finance higher education at the 9 state colleges and universities and the Board of Regents. More than 3/4, or $1.3 billion of last year's educational expenditures came from state and local tax revenues. The remaining $352 million was derived from other sources such as tuition and other charges for services as well as federal aid. In 1987-88, current expenditures in Utah averaged $2,361 per pupil. Grand County was just a little above that figure, but the Foundation report says that per pupil costs generally are significantly higher in rural districts and rather than the urban districts, although Grand County's expenditure is fairly low for an urban district, for a rural district, more like that at urban districts. Last year, current expenditures per pupil varied from a low of just over $2,000 at the Alpine School District to a high of $5,239 in the Tintic School District. Current expenditures in Grand County School District, according to the Foundation report for the 87-88 school year, totaled $3,600,000, and the per pupil cost was listed at $2,625 per pupil. Approximately 64% of the expenditures went for classroom instruction, 12% for plant operation and maintenance, 7.9% for administration, 4.3% for pupil services, including transportation, and 2.2% for instructional staff services, and 9.7% for all other activities. Well, visitors to some state parks in Utah may notice some improvements that are being made, and I'll be back and have that story and more news after this.
Pete & Company at 411 South Main in the Desert Plaza is springing into action with your hair care this season. Come by and get a new look or just touch up. Pete & Company have scruples when it comes to your hair and your skin. The Scruples line has a professional skin treatment system that replenishes moisture balance for supple, glowing skin and protects it from the harsh desert elements. Pete & Company are offering free Scruples hairspray with every perm. So come by the Desert Plaza and see Pete & Company soon, 411 South Main.
This spring, visitors to state parks here in the Beehive State will find a number of improvements, according to Nolan Hansen, developing coordinator for the Division of Parks and Recreation. He reports that several major renovation projects were completed last year and several more are planned this year. Among the improvements include improvements at Great Salt Lake State Park and flood and damage control at Utah Lake State Park. Also, there's a project to stabilize ruins at Anasazi State Park that's located over in the Boulder area. New covers for the ruins have been constructed along with walks and approaches to the ruins. In addition, the visitor center has been remodeled, giving additional space to the facility. Hansen said plans to enhance visitors' ability to interpret the ruins at Anasazi State Park call for installation of new interpretive signs this summer. An alarm system is also being installed. There are some other projects. In 1989, Utah legislature approved the sale of bonds to finance replacement of some old restrooms at Green River and also East Canyon and Pioneer Trail and Millsite parks. Similar funding has also approved construction of new maintenance buildings for 10 state parks. Included in that is a new maintenance building for Dead Horse Point, also one for Schofield and one for Green River. Construction projects by the Utah National Guard have also enhanced park facilities by saving the state money. During its June 1988 encampment, the Guard built a pavilion at Deer Creek. They also added boat docks at Gunlock, Red Fleet, Rockport, Yuba, and Schofield state parks. This year, plans call for construction of docks at Schofield and Deer Creek, pavilions at Camp Floyd and Palisade, and a footbridge at Pioneer Trail, Rotary Glen. The subject of national parks, the preservation of America's national parks depends on the willingness of the federal government to infuse some money and also a high degree of professionalism into the National Park Service, according to a report from a recent panel. The review was commissioned by the National Parks and Conservation Association and concluded funding for Park Service research programs must be increased at least 5-fold. It also concluded that park managers must become more professional and that park operations must adhere to an integrated ecosystem concept. The report was entitled National Parks from Vignettes to a Global View. It also concluded the Park Service must play a greater role in educating the public about the importance of conservation. We're taking a look at some coming events around our area. There's an open horse show is going to be held here in Moab. This will be Saturday, April the 1st at 10:30 a.m. out at the Rodeo Arena. If you like horses, it's a good show. That's April the 1st at 10:30 a.m. At the schools this week, the third quarter will end with the end of school this week on Thursday. Thursday evening, there's a choir concert at the high school gym. Friday will be a teacher preparation day, so teachers will be on the job on Friday, although students have the day off as usual. In sports, tennis, Monticello is at Moab for a tennis match on Friday, and also the spring break begins with the end of school this week. That's news of Moab and our Canyonlands area. We hope you enjoy a pleasant day.
Hi, I'm John Fogg, your local independent insurance agent. We've been serving the Moab area since 1955. Central Utah Insurance Agency has a company that fits just about any need. Just look at what we can do for you.
We can insure all kinds of vehicles, from old to new, sporty to luxury. We can insure almost every kind of home.
Why not come in and see me today? I'll put your insurance coverage with a company that fits your needs at the best possible price.